So my original hydraulic oil, ABS oil level sensor is broken. See here, so I just got a new one. And the cap on this is much softer. Notice how pliable that is versus this one, which is very stiff. So there's two marks, one low mark, one high mark. This is the mark that you measure when the engine is off, and it should fall within this notch. On the other side, you have a higher notch. This is what you measure with the engine on, and it should fall within this line. So here with my engine off, and I do have the suspension raised at the moment, so I wonder if that would affect it. So let me take this out. And you can see it doesn't even reach up high enough to reach the low mark. So I need to add some hydraulic oil to my system. And the part number for the level sensor is 220-320-0259. So I'm going to be working on fixing my oil leak that I have out of my oil cooler housing. So I've got a oil leak out of my housing here, so I've got new gaskets to install. I've got this piece, the oval piece, and the smaller circular round piece. Cap. So I'll start off by removing my oil filter. So for these oil cooler lines, it is an E10. Notice here I taped the oil cooler lines to the front bumper fender to get them out of my way. I'm actually going to put these screws back inside so I don't lose them. So I've got this 46mm here that I bought off Amazon. It's a 3/4 drive, so I had to get a 1/2 inch to 3/4 drive adapter. There's the gasket. Oh, this thing is stiff, not at all pliable. And I'm going to put the nut in there for now, just for safekeeping. I will wash it. So I'm going to clean out these Torx holes of any grease and oil. So these three are the same size except for this long one that goes in the very long side right here. So here's the two O-rings that we're going to switch out. So I finished cleaning these two assemblies. Right here is where this O-ring is going to mate against this surface, and then here is where the slightly less oval O-ring is going to mount against this surface here. This has also been cleaned. Final wash was done with brake clean. And I think the torque for these is 9 Newton meters. I'm going to have to double check and verify, but I'll start off with the lower of the two torques that I saw, because it's easier to make it tighter than it is to make it looser. while attempting to record or torque these to 9 Newton meters, the bolts stripped out before they even reached their final torque, so I ended up having to get a new assembly from a junkyard. And this right here is where one of the first bolts strips out. And the next bolt strips out here too. So the original one that came off of my Mercedes, I ended up stripping some of these threads, and I got another one from an ML Mercedes from the junkyard. And this one was manufactured on the 1989, the 15th week, which is and the original one that came off of this Mercedes was manufactured in 2003, the 4th week. Some immediate differences I can tell right off the bat is that right here, there's this little extra feature, little extra support material right here, which is not right here. You just have this seam of where the casting is. On this 99 model, you have this little notch right here, and that is not on the 03 version. The part number for the 1999 is 112-184-0102, and the part number for the 03 or the 05 S55 AMG is 112-184-0102. So you see that they do match. Again, on the 1999 model right here, you see there's a notch, and over here on this casting, on the 03 casting, it is filled in. So you can see the difference. There's missing material here, not necessarily missing, but it just wasn't added to the cast at that time. On the 99 model, this ridge right here ends and doesn't go over this bump, but on the 2003 model, you can see that the notch goes even a little bit beyond this lip and extends the entire way. So I think that's called flashing, but I think that's only a term for plastics. And I just need to swap over this bracket assembly here to the new one. And right here, where the seam is, it's cut off flat, but on the 2003 casting, the material just extends out. But other than that, same part number, everything matches. Got the new O-ring that's going to go on here. Make sure to line it up properly. One of the ends is more circular and one of the other ends has this shape. So make sure to line it up properly. And there you can see the O-rings now installed. Time to put on the oil filter housing back on. And to line it up, you have this notch right here, which will line up with these two notches there. So there, I've got the notches lined up, and I started the bolt by hand, a few threads. I'm just going to keep threading it on by hand until it goes smoothly, and it should turn quite a few turns before you feel any stopper resistance. Absolutely zero resistance. There we go. And then it hits a very bottom firm stop. And again, still lined up with the notches. And this gets torqued down to 70 Newton meters with your torque wrench. One thing I've noticed on here is that this fitting is kind of loose on this oil cooler bracket right here. So I'm going to pay attention to that, see if it starts leaking. This one here is solid though. Okay, so I've finished installing these two oil cooler lines. I started off with 7 Newton meters to try to torque these, but it felt like they were about to strip out, so I stopped before that. And then oil filter cap is torqued to 25 Newton meters. So again, I'll just pay attention to this area here to make sure that it doesn't start leaking, along with here. I'm going to wipe off any oil that I have and then take it for another test drive and see if we still have a leak or not on the front end of the engine. And almost forgot to reinstall this bracket right here to hold the oil cooler lines in place. I feel like there's something missing right here for this cooler line because it's just rubbing on that edge. If you look right here, it's got some clips to hold on to. I don't see any broken tabs anywhere over here. I wonder if maybe just this bracket here is just supposed to be angled more up. Off he goes. I wonder where his journey takes him.